Hi everybody, this is my presentation for communicating and advocating for school/community needs. Okay, so I'm going to start off with my table of contents. So the first thing I'm going to discuss is I'm going to discuss my districts that I reviewed. I handpicked 5 districts to review. I'm going to move on to their policies. Then I will talk about why the need for training and kind of my argument for providing training, as well as benefits and how it's done and what that might look like. And then I'm going to end with my references. Okay, so the districts that I picked USD 107, which is my district. It is Rock Hills, located in Mankato, Kansas. District number 2, USD 109, that is a neighbor of ours to the east, Republic County, located in Belleville. I picked a neighbor to the south, USD 273, Beloit, Kansas. Then I picked one way south, still in Kansas, USD 443, Dodge City, located in Dodge City, Kansas. And then I picked USD 305, Salina Unified School District in Salina, Kansas. So for USD 107, what we have for disability or for discrimination based off of race and discrimination based off of disability, we have the JGECA, and it talks about racial and disability harassment. Violation of this policy for any student, employee, or other individual associated with the school is not prohibited or is prohibited and will not be tolerated. They list no specific and diverse groups. There's no documentation of training provided for faculty or staff, and since this is my home district, I know that we aren't provided training on that. However, one thing that I wanted to note that I thought was great is that our option for the website can be translated into like 46 different languages or something like that because it's powered through Google. USD 109, this is Belleville. They also have JGECA. They talk about their racial disability harassment and how it is prohibited, and they kind of had like the same language as we did in a lot of ours and a lot of our policies. So it says that it won't be tolerated. They outlined, however, they went a step further, and I liked this. They outlined how discrimination should be brought to the school's attention. They made a list of informal procedures, formal complaint procedures, and then formal complaint appeal, but it did not mention of staff training that was provided. USD 273, so this is Belleville. They do have a non-discrimination statement. It's very similar to USD 107 and USD 109. However, one thing that I noted that I thought was great was their mission and district goals says that they want to be aware of important cultural heritages, traditions, and lifestyles. Well, I think that that's a great mission or district goal. I didn't really see a lot of things on their website, such as trainings or things like that, that were showing or specific goals that they had of how they were going to meet that. So I didn't see any proper procedures listed, and I didn't see a diverse groups addressed, and I already said that I did not know any trainings that I found. 443, so this would be Dodge City. They do have posted academic goals that are culturally relevant for the students that they serve. They have an action plan posted on their website that is visible for all, and one of their goals was to increase their two-way communication. I didn't see any proper procedures listed and no specific diverse groups addressed and no noted trainings found on their website for USD 305 in Salina. So when we talk about no training, I think that this could be for a couple of different reasons. One of them, maybe I didn't know exactly where to look, but I was able to find several different professional development opportunities or trainings that maybe that they were hosting, and I didn't see any that were listed that would be for increasing staff knowledge and awareness about multiculturalism and how to embrace that inside and outside the classroom. Maybe they choose to keep it private. Some districts might be unaware of their importance, and I would say that that is probably something for definitely USD 107 is we're unaware of its importance, and we really probably think that we're not diverse enough for trainings to be had. So why do we need it? We need it to increase family engagement, increase two-way communication, and really understand the how behind it all. The most important thing here, though, is that we create connections and build relationships between staff and students and staff and families. So when I was reading through the resources, I kind of really did put it in 2 different categories. It was either here to increase family engagement or it was here to increase our two-way communication. So when we talk about family engagement, we can't have family engagement and we can't express its concerns unless we know how to communicate with our families. By doing this, we can have cross-cultural communication by maintaining etiquette, avoiding slang, speaking slowly, keeping it simple, practice active listening, take turns talking, So I'm going to have the option to speak, and then I'm going to allow you to ask me questions and speak as well. We can write things down, avoid closed questions, and be careful with humor and always be supportive. We want to make sure that we have strong homeschool connections because they're essential for academic success of all learners. The responsibility of cultivating and sustaining partnerships among school, home, and community rests primarily with the school staff, especially school leaders, to help and guide those teachers on what needs to happen. We also need to invite parents or guardians to share their knowledge about their students' lives. In order to help increase family engagement, we really need to promote those partnerships between parents, community leaders, and teachers. And we can do this through 6 different things. We want to be able to exhibit trustworthiness, reliability, follow through, competence, honesty, and openness. When we talk about family engagement, we will know that our family engagement has trusting relationships and that our connections with our families are trusting relationships when educators are culturally responsive and reach out to those families. When all families feel welcome in our buildings and on our school grounds and coming to different activities within the district, and we will know that we have strong relationships that are trusting when educators and family leaders jointly plan and lead family engagement activities. So when we talk about increasing that two-way communication and kind of why it's important, well, it allows us a chance to build relationships. We get to know their goals and expectations for their child's school year. It allows sharing of information from both perspectives, and it establishes rapport. When we have students with involved parents, they're more likely to earn higher grades, be promoted, attend school regularly, have better social skills, graduate, and go on to post-secondary education. So the how behind it. How can we do this? How can we increase our family engagement? And how can we increase our two-way communication to build those strong relationships? Well, we can target specific families. We can be authentic and available. We can demonstrate our commitment, prioritize engagement, and reach out to cultural leaders, community partners, and care providers. We can always be an advocate for our school, community, and our families. We can also invite families to do family interviews, have guest speakers, do community research, have classroom and school presentations. We could do neighborhood explorations and connect with community organizations. We also want to continue to grow acceptance of digital communication. Some of the benefits for increasing our use of digital communication would be it offers most applications and things like that offer immediate translation, and we can really ease the communication between families talking about grades, absences, and missing assignments. We can receive alerts, by receiving alerts, parents can significantly reduce class level absences for middle and high school students. There is a program out there called Artificial Intelligence, AI, and that can help parents and teachers communicate with one another based on previous conversational data. Because one thing that we're learning is that parents of different cultures and families of different cultures and backgrounds, they don't communicate the same way that we do. And so if we are a part of this artificial intelligence, it might select conversation starters like, hey, you haven't heard from little Johnny's teacher in a week. Maybe you should message her and say, hi, Mrs. Dusky, just checking in to see how Johnny is doing. Is he turning in all of his work? And things like that to kind of help bridge those communication barriers. So the how can we do this? Well, we can work on creating family engagement activities that are in collaboration with other district events. We can create opportunities for families to gain skills and knowledge. And the most important thing is plan it, do it, reflect, and then you want to adjust it. So when we talk about benefits, we can increase staff knowledge and comfort level meeting multicultural needs. We can increase our family engagement. We will increase families being able to feel welcome and also feeling well represented at engagement activities. So just some different technologies that we can use to meet the needs of our families, as I talked about, artificial intelligence, Class Dojo, Seesaw, Remind, and Spotlight. Here are my references. Thank you so much for listening.